Hey, what's up guys? Thank you guys for coming to hang out with me today. As you guys can see, and as you guys could probably tell by the title, we are back on Forza Horizon 3 doing another car pack review. Now, the new car pack, the January car pack, came out today, and I'm not quite sure how I feel about it yet. What we're going to do, we're going to go through all of the cars that came in the pack, and then we're going to do what we did last time. We're going to drive like 3 of the cars today, and then tomorrow or whenever the next time is that I decide to do the second part of this, we will drive another 3. But what we're going to do is we're going to go through all of the cars that came in the pack. We have the Bentley Bentayga, I think is how you pronounce it. Now, I wasn't very particularly excited when I saw that this car was in our vehicle was in the game. I'm not really one for all of these SUV types. I don't ever drive them. I think I only drove one once, and that's kind of because I was kind of forced to. Like, part of the career mode, you kind of had to. It was like your second car that you got. And that's the only time that I have ever driven an SUV. So, to be honest, I'm not very thrilled about this car. But if you guys would like me to check it out, we will. And then we have the much anticipated and much wanted BMW i8. Now, this is a really cool car. And I'm really glad that it finally made it into the game. This is something that I think that should have been introduced in the Motorsport 6 game. Mainly because it just, that's kind of when it came out, and that's kind of when everybody was all like over the i8 and like how awesome it was in real life. And yeah, I'm pretty happy to see that it's in the game. I don't know how much I'm going to drive it, to be honest, but in terms of it just being in the game is really cool. And then we have a like trophy truck, which I don't have the Blizzard Mountain pack yet, so this is the first one I'm going to be able to drive. So I am actually really excited to see this in the game. This is the number 11. I can't remember who drives this truck. I'm so sorry for those of you that do know. But this is one of the Pro 2 trucks, so it's rear-wheel drive, as you guys can see. It has like 850 horsepower up there on the right. You guys can see it. It has almost 700 foot-pounds of torque. So these things are absolutely crazy. They have like 3 feet of suspension travel, which is crazy. So I am definitely looking forward to driving this thing in the game. And then we also have another Falcon. I don't understand why they threw in another Falcon. This is another variant of the Falcon. We already have like 3 of these fucking things in the game. So I'm not necessarily too excited about this being in the game either. But if you guys are a fan of this car, if you guys can tell me what distinguishes this model compared to the other models, please make sure you let me know, because I would like to know the differences. It's just, we have so many Falcons in the game now that it just seems like that's all there is. And then we have my personal favorite car in the pack, which is the Nissan R31. Now, this is the GTS version, which means that it's rear-wheel drive. And the R31 is kind of like the Skyline that started the R series. So, this was like the original R car, if that makes any sense. And the reason why I like the fact that this is in the game is because I've always felt that the R31 is definitely underappreciated. And everyone they always talk about the R32 or the R34. That's really about the only 2 Skylines that you actually hear people talking about. And I've always liked the R31. I think it's a cool car. I think it's an interesting car. As you guys can see, it's not the most powerful car, but I am glad it's in the game. And this is definitely going to be one that we are driving also. And then we have the Radical RXC Turbo. This thing looks like it's a crazy machine. It's a Radical, so I would assume that it's very light. 2,000 pounds, actually. And I'm assuming this thing is probably going to be a handful to drive. We're definitely going to be taking a look at that either in this video or the next one. I'm not sure yet. And then we have the Volvo Polestar again. I'm not really big into these like super SUV saloon type cars, but this is actually a fairly cool car, and I do imagine myself giving it a shot here before too long. But that being said, let's get into our first car that we're going to look at today. I think that it's going to be, I think what we're going to do is we're just going to go right down the list, and we're going to start with the i8, and then we're going to go to the trophy truck, and then last but not least, we're going to go to the R31. Yeah, I quite like the fact that the i8 and the R31 are in the game, just because they're cool cars, man. They are really cool cars. Now, we're not going to go for any of the user-created paint schemes, because I think this thing looks really cool the way it is. And I'm thinking maybe black. Black looks wicked. Now, if I was to own if I was ever able to the point where I could afford one, mine would be black and blue, just like this. So we're gonna go kind of just drive around. We're not really gonna go hoon. We're not going to go trying to slide this thing. We're just kind of get a feel for it, kind of see how the car itself feels compared to some of the other all-wheel drive sports cars in the game. Now, like I said, obviously I am excited that this is in the game. I think it's cool, and I'm actually kind of interested to see. Okay, cool. So it's got flip-up doors, which I think I did actually know, but I wasn't quite sure. We're going to see if there's anything, probably nothing cool in terms of customization. Probably got like the standard Forza arrow, which actually, oh, never mind. That looks quite horrible on the rear. But anyway, we're going to go give this thing a little bit of a drive. We're going to drive around for about, I don't know, 4 or so minutes. We're not going to drive around for too long, but just long enough to kind of see how the car itself feels in terms of...
Somebody sent me an anonymous tip about another abandoned classic out there.
Oh,
I don't
dude.
know why they had to be anonymous, but we like rumors, right?
I do like that about this game, man. I like how they're adding new barn finds with each DLC. I think that is actually really, really cool. I actually appreciate that in the game. So you get like these, the 6 or 7 cars that come in the pack as it is, and then you're like, okay, I'm not necessarily particularly excited about any of them, or in my case, I am actually excited about to get a few of them. Oh, we just barely squeezed through there, but I do like that there is still that hidden fact, or that hidden, I don't know, I don't want to say motive, I guess wouldn't be the right word, but I do like the fact that they add more barn finds with each DLC. I think that is really, really cool. Now, the first thing that I am noticing about the i8 is it sounds incredible. Like, I don't know, I can't remember exactly what the engine specs, and I know it's a hybrid car, but I don't know exactly what it's running, so I won't be able to tell you. We did level up, so let's go ahead and go for a wheel spin since we're here. But yeah, I don't really know exactly what this thing has got going on underneath of it that makes it work as a car, but it sounds incredible. And I've actually, I can't remember exactly where I was going, but I saw one, and in real life, it sounds like the most badass BMW, other than like your somewhat souped up E36s and things like that. But it sounds like kind of what you would imagine a hybrid sports car to sound, which I know is kind of a weird thing to be saying in the same sentence, hybrid and sports car. But they really managed to pull it together in the i8. And the fact that it's all-wheel drive, which is, I think that might be new for BMW. I mean, obviously there's the X5, but I think in terms of sports cars, I think being all-wheel drive is new to BMW. And it's really cool to see how well it actually worked for the i8. Now, I kind of went through the same thing everybody else did when it came to this car being launched. I was kind of... Oh, yep, I wasn't really paying attention right there. But I was kind of like just blown away, as in like I kind of spent like each hour that I could researching this car. And I don't know, it's one of those cool cars that, that doesn't really come around all too often. I think that this car really captured like the future of sports cars themselves. And I think that this kind of gives me a little bit of hope to see what happens in the future in terms of hybrid sports cars, because this thing is absolutely incredible. It's one of those things that, like, on paper you wouldn't think worked, but it did. Like, it's really, really incredible. It's such a really cool car, and even now, even though I know this is only in a video game setting, even now, like, the front end is super, super responsive. It's got insane grip, which is probably the most important thing in a car like this. It doesn't have massive amounts of horsepower, but it's got that handling performance that you would want out of like a track day car. And I find that really, really interesting. And I am really glad that it's finally in the game. I would have much rather this come to the Motorsport franchise. And I know it seems like I say that in every single Horizon 3 video, because I prefer track racing, but this car, it's absolutely, it drives the way you would imagine it to, and it just feels incredible. But I think what we're gonna do now is go get in the trophy truck and maybe go thrash around a bit in the dunes and kind of see. Oh, I completely didn't get the prompt to do that. But yeah, I'm gonna go switch into the trophy truck, and I will see you guys at the dunes in a couple of seconds. Okay, so here we are at the dunes. We are obviously in the trophy truck because this is like the perfect place that I can think to take this thing and maybe give it a good thrashing. Now, if you guys were curious as to whose truck this was, this is Rob MacCachren. I think that's how you would say that name. Anyway, yeah, I just wanted to show you guys in case you guys were curious. Now, I was having a good look through this truck while we were waiting for the some of the game to load up, and this has an incredibly detailed interior, absolutely insane. It looks phenomenal, and I can definitely tell that it is rear-wheel drive. Oh, that was a massive jump. Now, I did not drive the BJ Baldwin. I think it's the name of the one that came with the game itself. I didn't drive that one all too much. I think I only drove it maybe about once or twice. But yeah, you know, I never really found myself really needing nor wanting to drive it. I don't know why. It has nothing to do with the truck itself. I just never got into it, I guess I should say. And now that we're getting more of these trophy trucks in the game, I know there was one that came with the store. I'm about to say store mile with the Blizzard Mountain Pack, and I know that was also a Pro 2 truck, which is really, really cool. I'm glad that we're seeing some more of these bigger trucks come into the game. I do think that obviously being in the setting that we are, given Australia, I think that it is a good place for them. Like, this is a good game to have these types of vehicles in, because really, if you think about it, there's not very much of a market for these types of vehicles to be in the game, and I think that this just being in the given setting is why it works so well. And yeah, so I think it's really cool that we're seeing these trucks come into the game. I don't know what the hell I was trying to accomplish there, but oh well. But yeah, I'm really happy that we're seeing more of these trophy trucks and deserting raid trucks come into the game, because I, believe it or not, am a huge Traxxas. I can't remember the name of the series. But anyway, they race these things around stadiums, and God, it's gonna drive me crazy that I can't think of the name. I didn't think of the name of the series itself. But I'm a huge fan of these vehicles. I always have been, ever since a little kid. And it's a shame that there really isn't a video game dedicated to these guys, like, entirely. I would totally play a trophy truck, stadium truck type of racing game, only because I really feel like it's one of those, like, it's kind of like a cult following. You guys kind of know what I mean? That not many people follow the sport, but those of us that do, we really, I don't know, we really wish that it was more somewhat mainstream, so that it was a little bit more accessible to the public. And yeah, so just me being a general fan of these things makes me really happy to see these things come into the game. And you know, really, in all honesty, I don't see myself driving this thing all too often, but just the given fact that it's in the game itself is just, it's really, really awesome. These things are such incredible vehicles, and they are scarily strong. Like, they are like indestructible almost. And I really think that these things would benefit from kind of having like their own. Oh Jesus! Oh, that was a lot bigger of a jump than I thought it was. Oh, we flipped. We're dead. Going wheels up? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Or wheels down, I should say. But yeah, I'm really happy to see this come into the game. And I know that there are some of you that will be just as happy, and some of you probably won't be as much. But this is just, these things are so cool. and I love these things. And unfortunately, I can't remember. Is it the Traxxas Off-Road Racing Championship? I believe. Torque, yeah, the Torque Racing Series, I believe is what it's called. And I'm just a huge fan of it. I watch it as often as I can. I haven't really watched it all too much this year. I haven't really been keeping up with it, but I do enjoy the sport. I love it a lot. These things are insane. I prefer the Pro 2, obviously, because I think rear-wheel drive, watching these things kick up some mud, is absolutely a fantastic thing to watch. But that being said, I think that I've kind of rambled on enough about this car. I think what we're going to do is drive back over here to the Yarra Valley hub, switch into the new Skyline, and come see what the hell this new barn find is. Yeah, I think that's what we're gonna do. So I will see you guys once we have the Skyline. Right, so here we are in the R31. Now, I found this very interesting. You can open up everything, which is really cool. I really enjoy cars that allow you to actually look at the engines themselves. I just think it's cool. But yeah, we are in the R31. And before we take off, I want to see what we can do in terms of customization. Now, it does actually look like it has a body kit, which is really, really cool. I wonder if it's maybe like a pro touring, like a touring car body kit. Because these things were, in fact, race cars back in the day. But no, it just looks like it's your standard bolt-on, which actually, you know what? That doesn't look all that bad. It looks kind of like a standard drift missile, to be honest. I think we're actually going to go ahead and throw these on. And we're going to do a little bit of an upgrade to this car. We're not going to be doing too much. And I would also like to see what we can do in terms of body mods. We got a little bit of a lip right there. Sure, we'll throw that on there. Why not? And let's see what we can do in terms of ugly ass arrow. So we're going to leave the spoiler on it. And we've got... Oh, that's cool. We got like wind visors, I guess it's what, wind deflectors? Yeah, the more wind deflectors. We're gonna throw these on there too, I guess I should say. And yeah. I mean it's kinda cool. Like, it's not the prettiest car in the world, but like I said, I was just really happy that this car came to the game simply because I love the R31. I think the R31 is a fantastically overlooked car. And it's kind of upsetting, to be honest. I would wish that there were more people that were as enthusiastic as I am. Now, as you can expect, it is a turbocharged car, which is... I would be slightly upset if it wasn't. So that's cool. And it is rear-wheel drive, so we are not going to have the your standard understeery Nissan Jeep Skyline. Oh yeah, that was awesome. That was great, and actually, you know, for it only being... I mean, now I know it only has like 200 horsepower, but it actually feels like it actually wants to step out fairly easily. Don't run into the Lamborghini, please. But yeah, it actually feels like it wants to step out a bit, which is really, really cool. Now, what we are definitely going to do is we're going to see if we can find this barn find, and maybe check this car out, whatever it is. I don't know what it is. I don't typically keep up with it. Now, obviously, it's probably not going to be anything too crazily awesome, but I figured we would give it a shot and come see what the hell it is, and maybe give this car a little bit of a review while it's being restored and whatever. We may or may not get to that in this video, but we will definitely get into it in the next one, because it'll definitely be finished by then. But yeah, you know, I'm really happy to see this car in the game. This was one of those cars that hit the pro touring scene in the late 80s, early 90s, and it was also, I believe, a rally car. Maybe, I want to say it was, I don't know, but you guys can probably tell me for sure on that. I'm not, like I said, I'm not quite sure. But yeah, I'm really excited to see this car. And I can't wait to do a drift build on it. Obviously, you know I'm going to want to do it.
We always do.
I don't know what the hell that is. It's a...
Cool. It's a Volvo.
Oh, it's a Volvo.
Front engine, rear drive sports car. And if it's the one I think it is, it's famous. Come on, let's get it out of here.
Yeah, you do that. Like I said, like I didn't know the Volvo was coming in the game. So that's really cool. So now we have another car that we can possibly take a look at. And the 1800E, it said. Okay, interesting. But yeah, you know, I just want to give this car a little bit of a quick drive.
Go away. Go away. I can't work with you watching. I'll call you when it's ready.
I see how you are, Warren. I see how you are, buddy. But yeah, I'm super stoked to be able to drive this thing. And I can't wait to be doing a drift build on it. I think this will be one of those cars that is easy to slide. And I think that that's going to be ridiculously fun. So, without further ado, let's see if maybe we can get this thing. Yeah, see, if you're in a higher or lower gear, I should say, it actually does kind of kick out a bit, which is really cool. Now, I would wish that there were some more GTSs in the game, even though I do know that, yes, you can technically make the GTRs rear-wheel drive. Just for the sake of variety, though, I would like to see some of these GTSs, just because I think that would be really awesome. But, yeah, you know, this car would drive kind of as you would expect it to. It's really light in the rear end, really grippy in the front end whenever you want it to be. And even though it's stock, it doesn't have much more than 200 horsepower. It actually has some fairly decent get up and go, which is really interesting. Like, now I'm pretty sure most of that's due to the turbo, because this thing isn't lagging whatsoever. But yeah, it actually has some fairly decent speed in terms of stock power, which I find that really interesting. You know, like I would be willing to drive this thing stock, like maybe in a race, if everyone else was doing the same thing. Oh shit, don't hit the transit. Oh, we just barely tapped you. You're okay. You are just fine. But yeah, you know, I would definitely be willing to do like a stock series of these things, like racing. I think that would be really cool. And I don't know, I just think that'd be somewhat interesting. Now, I don't know the specs on these things when they raced in the Pro Touring. I don't remember if they were... they might have been the rear-wheel drive. Actually, you know, it might not have been until the R32 that these things began racing, like, professionally. But I do know that the R31 was absolutely, definitely the first in the R series. And, you know, it's just really cool to have this thing coming into the game, even though now we have the R32, the R33, the R34, and the R35. It's just really cool to have, like, the complete family. And, yeah, I mean, there's really not much that I can really say other than that I am extremely happy that this is in the game. And, I'm so sorry. Didn't mean to do that. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it, guys, for this video. Just a really quick review on some of the cars in the new pack. And, like I said, we will be doing a part 2 to this, either tomorrow or the next day. I'm not quite sure yet. But, yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. And if you did, don't forget to hit that like button, because all of the support definitely helps. And, of course, if you guys are new, don't forget to subscribe. The more the merrier. We're almost to 100 subscribers. And if we could hit that fairly soon, that would be absolutely stellar. However, guys, that being said, you can find my Facebook and my Twitter in the description box below. And I think that's pretty much it for me, guys. So until next time, peace. Yeah, master of time.